Computer. Lights. Good morning, everybody, and happy Thursday. Okay, so we've finally done it. We've hit the spot where I can't find anything. So the first part of today is I'm going to try to get everything all squared away in here so that we can find all of the stuff. But what we need first is to, I just realized that our folder is carrying as templates an entire copy of Daz Studio in here, which it doesn't really need to, just so I can have the templates for this. And I'm like, okay, but it doesn't need that. So I'm going to move that out here. It's apparently going to take all week. That's right. You can do that. In the meantime, we are going back in. So what we're doing today is just organizing stuff. Organization is a very critical part of all things when you're dealing with a project, especially a large project. You need to set up an organizational strategy for this that has some kind of logic to it. And I didn't. I dove. I know it sounds ridiculous because, of course, I've been spending hundreds of hours building sets and building structures and building things. And you're like, but you've got hundreds of hours in this. What's the story? And the truth is that I sort of came about the idea of doing Bellatrix Rising after sort of thinking about it and after visiting with my dad. And it was part of sort of a discussion he and I had where we talked about the idea of, why are you spending so much time on this, son? Why don't you, or when we were talking about Tamerlane, we were talking about the Star Trek comic I was doing. And it was his idea to come up with my own world. And so I just came home and I was all gung-ho about it. And this had been a folder full of some idea that I had somewhere along the line. And I just threw a couple of concepts in here and a couple of sketches. And so I just instead took the folder and just kept building out of it. So what we have now is 4.6 billion quadrillion gigabytes of stuff that does not, in fact, need to be in the same spot. There we go. Perfect. And I have, good morning, Patsy. Good to see you. I have now this conglomerate of files and bits and pieces that are not organized in the least. So we're going to organize them today. That's what we're going to do. We're going to spend today, or at least some of today, trying to get some of these files in some semblance of organization. Because we've built a ton of 3D assets, and they're in, I'm not kidding, like 20 different folders scattered all over the place. And this morning, what's the central story? Ah! I am so with you, Ghost Hand. I'm so there. So today's show is all about organization. Organization Day, because we have gone way off the rails. We are way nowhere. We're not even near the station anymore. We're so far off the rails. Our train is just plowing through the South American desert all by itself. Just woo! It doesn't even know where it's headed at this point in time. So we're going to put our train back in the right spot. Okay, so I know this is going to spend a whole bunch of time with just a bunch of dots and folders, so I'll try to talk and stuff. So, okay, so here's all the things, right? I think what we have to do is we're going to build a folder called Interiors, which was already built, and it's got the pilot house in it and stuff like that. Inside here, though, I'm going to just put one new folder and call it textures. And so that there's no confusion, I'm going to call this interior textures. We're going to do another folder called interior blender files. Then we're going to do another folder that we're going to call interior DAS files. Now, there are pointers set all over the place. So, that could be a lot of fun. So once we do all of this moving and everything, there's going to be an apocalypse. None of the files are going to open properly. You know what, Patsy? I got my coffee. You got your coffee. We're ready to go. I'm just saying. And my coffee makes noise because I drink my coffee iced. And I know some people think I'm weird, but that's what we're doing. Okay. Think about some other things that occur, right? Interior design, right? Because people, and when I say people, I mean me. I don't know why I keep thinking other people are going to get into this folder and start moving stuff around, but I'm going to decide somewhere along the line I've got sketches. I've got all these sketches where I sketched out a room or I sketched out a concept or something like that. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to call this interior aging. Because the truth of the matter is, we already have 4 different versions of the pilot house. Oh, I actually do. All of it's on the OneDrive right now. All of this is on OneDrive. So everything is there. And I just today discovered that I have a complete copy of DAZ Studio parked inside the Bellatrix Rising folder. And I don't know why, but I do. Okay, looking in the Pilot House folder, we have trucks and vehicles. So yeah, I mean, like, this is why we just need to be like, I don't know, shot. All of us need to be shot. Okay, so here we go. These are all vehicles. So they don't even belong in the interiors folder. I'm going to put them back here in the general population because we're going to have to sort here in a minute. And I'm going to delete this folder because there was one sketch in there of the pilot house. One. So interior aging, Blender files, DAZ files, design, and textures. I think that covers, because the DAZ files will have complete sets. Maybe I need that too. Let's do that. New file, interior sets. And the reason we're going to want sets is because you want to have a DAZ file that just says bridge. It's the Kitty Wake bridge. You know, so like we'll need that. Okay, now that we've done this, we're going to make sure that we've got Bellatrix Rising. We're going to open this guy up in another window so that I don't have to keep going back and forth, and I'll be able to read all of these because we've now got to go through here and say new folder, and we're going to say bang, 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 bang. Exteriors. No, there are, well, no, exteriors. Exteriors would be things like cities and things like that. So we're going to go on ahead and put that in here. Exterior aging. And we're just going to mimic what we have in the other folder. Exterior Blender files. Should have called them exterior, you know, because I should have called them 3D files, but that's all right. It's not going to kill us. I'll just know that if I decide in 20 years to use 3ds Max or whatever, I'll put all those in the Blender files because, well, there you go. Exterior design. Exterior sets. And the most important, exterior textures. Okay. Now that we've done exteriors, we're going to go back. New folder. Bang, 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 bang. Ships. Okay. The same thing. And I know this is going to be repetitive, guys, but trust me when I say I will be much happier. Ships aging. Ships Blender files. So one of the things that I've noticed is I don't think I expected this project to go very far. Just its setup is not, it wasn't set up properly like I usually do. Now, I don't think there'll be that many sets for exterior pieces or for these because you're going to want, I'm going to be building the ships as characters in DAZ so that we can bring them into a city and have them. See you later, Patsy. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining me. But I'm looking at things like whenever I look at when I look at the setup of this folder, it's all over the place. Like everything is everywhere. There's artwork all over the place. And I've literally now logged thousands of hours into this project, and we have pieces everywhere. So I don't think I intended it to go very far. New folder. Props, right? So we're going to need that. So one of the things you may be noticing is I'm writing the word over and over and over again. So props, aging, props, Blender files. And it's because some programs don't give you the tree. And so it won't give you a tree, and all you'll see is, you know, DAS files. And you'd be like, wait a minute, am I in the props directory or I'm in the interior directory? So when you do folders, one of the things that I do is ensure that the word of what this folder is repeated. Props design, you know what's going to go into the props design is that all those drawings in the gun, because we've worked so much on that rifle, that pistol rifle set. And there's kind of a reason for that. I have a couple of high level concepts that I'm working into Bellatrix Rising. And there are three things that textures, I got sidetracked there, props textures. There are three things I think will make a utopia. One, it's vital that we create some kind of um, warp drive of some sort because you won't be able to travel anywhere without it. So we need that, or a sci-fi utopia. Two, we have to have replimats or replicators because food scarcity, object scarcity, thing scarcity is the one reason that humans keep fighting over things. We keep fighting over food. We keep fighting over land. We keep fighting over everything. And it's the bottom layer of Maslow's hierarchy of needs that is the most problematic. And the last one we need is vehicles. And so we desperately need to figure out a way to come up with food for everybody all the time so that there's no scarcity. But the third most important thing is we need to have a stunner of some sort, something that completely incapacitates a person without hurting them. The worst thing that happens is that they fall to the ground and they have to deal with falling to the ground and they get bruised up. But nothing permanent ever. And that's important because one of the things I'm noticing is we have a problem when enforcement of some sort gets threatened. Somebody is, and the only thing that they can do is lethal force. And so, if we can solve that problem, then it helps us get to a point where, in fact, it'd be kind of cool if you just froze, like a freeze ray, a freeze ray, because then you don't fall over. Then I can talk to you, you know. And maybe that's what our magic weapon is a freeze ray of some sort, so because then you're still conscious, you're still aware, you just can't move. I mean, that could still be abused, absolutely, and anything can be abused, but okay, here's what we're going to do now. Okay, The bed is all an, see, we're already the first thing to move. And now we got to think about it. Is the bed a prop or is it an interior? I think it's an interior. I think props are things you hold. So we'll move the bed in there. It kind of makes books sort of a prop. No, I'm going to call it an interior piece because it's building an interior. If they're holding like the captain's log or something, that will definitely be a. Then there's the car pods, which all need to go to vehicles. Chair is a interior. We don't have anything about characters. All of this Chang stuff is an interior wall piece. Computer is also, and the console. Countertop. Computer. Stop. It's playing music. It's going to get me banned, I tell you. Okay, so here are all of the interior pieces for like computers and not you. Sorry, I thought I heard my name. It's all good. Put that in ships. Driving legs, engine pods. Driving legs and engine pods. What is a flat? You don't even know what flat is. I don't even know what I was headed for. This is an exterior. These are all these hexadomes. Oh man, that was a ridiculous amount of time spent trying to figure out how to get a dome to do all of the, right? We're supposed to use PC. It's like having a puppy. You know, you can't say walk around a puppy. The puppy starts peeing itself. You can't even talk about you wanting to, I don't know. It's a locker and the interior furniture piece. Those are all obviously inside. Overhead locker, Bork. All these are interiors. And this pilot house and these plantons, the room chair, and its sketch. Go to interiors. Starship chairs, interiors. People. These are all exteriors. I know you're going to be like, what? Why are they exteriors? Well, they are. Because it's Polaris. And so these are all people that are kind of hanging out. This is the truck. Wheels. Yada, yada, yada. These all belong in the vehicles. All right. And this is a weirdly weird exterior. Okay, ships and props. All these things you can see have popped up here in the interiors, and we're going to have to sort them properly. It'll take me forever. Actually, it won't, and I'll show you why. We're just going to go in here, and we're going to say View, large icons, right? And then we're going to say Sort by. We're going to sort by type. There's all the blenders stuff. There you go. And actually, all the OBJs. I'm going to put them on there too because the Blender files and the OBJ files are pretty much the same critter. And then all of the metal MTLs are when you output things as an OBJ, It does interior design. It does sort of a when you output things as an OBJ file, it does both the 3D file as one unit called the OBJ, and then it does another file which is the materials file, which shows what materials are wrapped where. That's the MTL file, so we want to make sure it's in the same spot. Okay, this duff then is a DAS file. Right, and that PNG goes with it. And then what's left are all of my weird textures. The question is, should I count these PNGs, which are the original layout pieces, should we count those as textures? They'll just crowd up the texture files. So I think actually I'm going to just call those 3D files. And I'll put them in their 3D file folders. Okay. Then all of the rest of these are texture files. And they just go to interior textures, like so. So no sets have been built yet. Nothing's aging out. So we're good. The next major problem is going to be, bring this up, sorting out the Bellatrix assets folder. Because you can see now we have a bunch of other stupid things in here. Okay. All of these are bridge pieces, right? So they'll go to interiors. I mean, this is going to be unpleasant. I'm actually kind of like deciding whether I want to keep going with this or dump them all in this big folder. I may just do that. Let's just dump everything we've got in here into this big folder like that. And then that way we can start working on it from here, which will be better than working on it from somewhere else. Okay, Chang's house. Chang's house is actually in the Polaris, so we're going to take Chang's house, all of these. I'm going to move those to exteriors because it's not the interior of her house, it's the exterior. The Corvette, all of its iterations belongs in ships. Right? Then we've got the crash couch that we've been working on, right? All of this crash couch stuff is interiors. We've got this destroyer, which is a ship. The dude in seat is just so that whenever I make a file in Blender, it makes some sense. Here's the prop GPM 24. This is the GPV, which is a vehicle. And these are hallways. Also interiors. Maser ports. Exteriors. No, it's a ship piece. So we're going to keep it in ships. Right? Our space chair. We like our space chair. Interiors. Okay, here's our Type 5 GPV, which I think is actually going to be renamed MPV at some point. It goes to vehicles. The Corvette. All the pieces of the Corvette. And the light cruiser. All of these guys. end up in ships. Okay. This is a building, which is an exterior. And there's the building for the exterior. I feel like these scenes are not, they're aged. So I don't want to mess with that at this point in time. So we just did this and emptied this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and rename it. No. I'm going to take all of this stuff and move it to Dunno. Because we don't know. We'll get there. We'll come back to it. Where do we put the Unity stars? Dunno. You know. Buildings and surfaces. So these are all actually straight up. These are all exteriors. So we'll just move them straight to exteriors. It wasn't even hard. So I'll come back from there. DAS templates are DAS templates. So we're going to leave that alone. Kitty pieces. These are all the pieces of the ship that actually works right now. And I'm loath to put them in a mix because this is the next version. This is Kitty 2. So let's do this. I want to move this guy over here. We're going to go into ships. Because like all these pieces here, they all belong to the old Kitty. And I guess technically they should be aging. I feel uncomfortable putting them in aging, but they are. Okay, so we're going to take this guy and put them into aging. Because these are Unity Corvettes that we don't use really anymore. Use the Mazer port. Yeah, even the landing gear, we've got a newer version of. So all of this goes to aging. Oh, man. That's brutal. That's brutal, man. Here's the Destroyer Blender file. There's no actual... The only thing that's outside of that now is... Look at it, tough. All of those are Blender files. The only texture we have is that. Okay. All of these guys come over. And this is where things are useful. Because really the only things in here that are mapped right now are these guys. Right? Which, and this, that's a map too. And the rest of this stuff all belongs in the Blender files. There we go. Kitty Wakes processed. Random ships. These are no maps. It's like capes. No capes. In this instance, we're talking about UV maps. We've got lots of UV maps. All of these guys are just rando dudes, which I'll move to there. All right, ships and props. This was where I was attempting to get these things squared away in an appropriate way, right? Because I can already see I had buildings, retire, starships, vehicle textures, and vehicles. So we clearly were working something. There's nothing in these. There's something in here. So these are all the vehicle textures. So we'll just move back to here. We'll move these guys to vehicles. All right. And there's nothing in there. Okay, so all of these guys are empty, so we can just delete them. Yeah, we got all these bridge pieces. Some of these are already retired. All of this right here belongs in interiors. You know what? I've done this before. Let's take all of these guys, move them over here. And that way I don't have to worry anymore, right? In fact, the last thing we have is these textures. And these are people textures. This is Daz characters. Yeah, some of them are. Not all of them, though. Dang it. This is going to take forever. Yeah, computer screens. Implantons. Hence our problem. Space cup. You know, like so many things that are just wildly characters. Full characters there. Okay. We'll have to think of that too. Because these are test building textures. Sky Dome, high rise. Yeah, see, some of these make sense. And some don't. I didn't think about that. Because what we really need is we need a Daz character texture. Okay, so we've managed to clear out these guys. Double check. And you, double check. And you, double check. Okay. So those 3 folders are now deleted, which is good. That one's been deleted too. So here's what we're going to do. Bang, 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 bang. Yes. And we know that the Daz templates belong in there, and I bet you a whole bunch of the denote belongs in there, and then the maquettes textures will belong in there too. That'll apparently take forever. Okay. Books. Are interiors. So is the bridge. All of this is interiors. PC screens are interiors. Corvette. All of this is like cover Bellatrix 1. That's a design. We shouldn't have done that. Vehicles. Go into vehicles. Plantons. And the Sky Dome does not actually go into interiors. Sky Dome. Space Cup does, though. That's a prop. Kitty Wake. I'll go in ships. I guess really kind of all of these Corvette plans go into ships too, but we may have to age a lot of them. Like all of these weird buildings. We were doing a lot of work before we were organized, guys. I just wanted to say that. Here's the crash couch. Not sure what that is. Buildings. Here's the all-purpose sidearm, which is a prop. Another building. These are Kittywake drawings. That's a ship. And motherships and Polaris are ships. So I'll put them under ships. And then the Sky Dome is under exteriors. And where do we put uniforms? Now, this is only the beginning, folks. This is only the beginning, because all of this is going to need to be sorted somehow. The 3D resources has nothing in it, so now that folder can be deleted. And where do these go? Into the 3D illustrations folder, which is really what it should have been in the first place. Or the illustrations, because these are renders and complete drawings. And actually, we need to put as setups so that they're here. These guys all move over here. That's a sure huge folder. You'd think. Gee willikers. You're like, I hope you turned off the sorting. I'm like, what? Nothing. Nothing. Nothing at all. Okay. Okay, illustrations. 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 Corvette deck plans. Commonwealth. What? Oh, God. Not saying you're right, but you're right. Anyway, deck plans. All of these things go into the 3Ds because that's a thing. Constitution of Worlds. cover, crew bases, Deus Thati, all of this stuff is illustrations. A destroyer goes into 3D sets. I don't even know what that design thing is. I like my Infinite Sundown. You, and you. All illustrations. All of this. Illustrations. Sales were, this is all going to have to be, some of this is going to have to be aged out. There we go. Okay. We have character setup stuff, but I feel like that should be in the design booklet. Like, here's our design booklet, right? All of my maps need to be redone. It's time for star maps. No, it's not really. I think I just kind of like the idea of making you go, what? No. Okay. Because I've got this folder here, it's characters, and I feel like that's a design folder. And a character or critters, which I think is a design folder, right? And this is a whole bunch of concepts and ideas. So really what I need to do is say ideas instead of, that's easier for me to understand. Because a lot of this, like this elf aging is one of those concepts that I saw somebody say something on once. And I went, oh, that's an interesting idea. I need to think about that. But it has nothing to do with, you're just sorting them. You're not opening anything. Remember, you're not opening anything. Right. Right. And these Li Chang documents, they go in. And then I have this Bible, right? That's the world building Bible. It's huge, like super huge. Okay. We've got fonts we're building here. This is where we're getting, like, we're building all of our fonts. History book has a bunch of side story stuff, which I like the page masters sort of concept. And then maps, which really should be part of the design booklet. Like over here. I don't even know what a poster is. I guess this is for our show. And this is an idea. This is an idea. And here is, imprint logos. So that's where this goes. And this goes. And your ideas. All right. There's still things in here that we're going to have to work on and think about. because they're maybe not. But I think here I've got like the comics, and I think what we really need to do is rename this to completes, because I've already put some of this stuff for the history books out, right? And in here we've got like unused stories and story ideas and the three acts that make up the overriding arc of the story, and then the vignettes. And the vignettes are small side stories. And I'm noticing things like, for example, I'm noticing that side story we were doing didn't end up in that. Like, where is, does anybody even know? Oh God. Anybody even know where we are? Because like some of these things totally got sidestepped. Okay, good. This is the correct vignette. So this is the one that we were working on, that we were starting to. So we're going to call this one Chang and Jen, because that's a backstory. It's just a little bit of a. That's the story that we were just talking about, where we did. So these shouldn't be called vignettes. These should be called side stories. There's a few of them, and we're going to build those first. And the reason we're going to do that is because the side stories tell a lot more of the world building, and it gives us the ability to get kind of used to drawing. It gives us some stuff to kind of put around and things like that. So we're going to take these history books, we're going to put it in completes, and take those history books again and put them in side stories. And the Restoration era is a side story. And the story of Bellatrix Rising may or may not. I keep Ron D. Moore's Ideals of Star Trek, which is a. When it comes to Star Trek, I'm of two minds. I'm definitely of the opinion of the Roddenberry-esque Star Trek, right? Unity is a utopia, where things have gone well and everybody is fed and everybody is housed, and we work on mental health so that everybody is healthy. We work on physical health so everybody's physically healthy. Food is not food doesn't hurt you, it just feeds you, and things like that. And that's very much a Roddenberry-esque utopia. But it's also somewhat boring. So there has to be some conflict somewhere that causes something to happen. And that's why I like to look into Ron D. Moore's concepts of the rules of Star Trek, how Ron Moore sees it, because the way Ron Moore sees these things is a little different. His core ideas are kind of different in a lot of ways. I can't actually open that file because we've turned off syncing. But it's okay. It's time for us to take a quick break anyway. I gotta stand up, stretch, make sure our legs still work. Oh man. So I'm gonna stretch. We're gonna make sure that we can still move. Oh man, things are popping. I'll get to actually go to take my walk today. I didn't take my walk yesterday because the Moderna vaccine hit me on day 3, which was really strange. But that's okay. I got my booster. I got my fluster because I got my flu shot as well. Okay. It's going to end up spending a good portion. I feel like the rabbit hunt is also now going to be kind of in there. So, all right. Get back in here. Let's get back to work. Organizing this stuff has been good until one is a side story. Languages. Why are these not in fonts? Okay. I can't find anything. Why? Because it's not the same languages. Okay. There we go. This is so I got this really cool design book. It was, I don't know, $10 on the web. And um oh yeah. Noticing sent you a link. It is true. If you have a good photographer, that changes everything. All right. So we've set up everything to sort of be in the right path. Let's go back into our 3D sets because now we've done the exteriors. They all need to be organized. So let's say sort by type, right? Here are all the OBJ files and the Blender files, right? And here are the DAS files. These are all textures, but I feel like these are support textures. I'm not sure. And looking at things. It's time to take a quick break. I already took a quick break. Bunch of people. If we're outside, whenever we have people wandering around, so you feel like there's a lot of people. Gosh, we did this over a year ago for these people because they were created in April or in August of 2020. So that's over a year ago we created this people function. So these are all PSDs. I kind of feel like these guys can all just hang out in exterior textures. And we don't really have sets yet. This graphic scales just tells me how to write on those kinds of things. So again, we'll sort by type. And that gives you these guys all the way down to these guys. All go into Blender files. Compare the info. Looks like 944, huh? We'll keep this guy. Okay. House is for sale here? Because if so, that'd be awesome. Bridge LPSD masters. These are the metals. They're so metal. All right. These guys then are all texture maps, except this is an aging. This is aging. But all the rest of this looks pretty nominal. Not sure what that is. All right. We'll put those into textures. There we go. Okay. Oh, in Topeka. Well, that's a long drive for me to come out there and shoot houses in Topeka, but, I'm not opposed. Right? We already have an agent here. He's a pretty good agent. Okay. We have these. That's just the templates. And I feel like maybe Maquette's is just pretty straight up this guy. So that's not that big of a deal. I guess it's already set up. Fine. Okay. Okay, this is a Blender file. And this is a sketch. So it's this. And that. Because I don't think we have anything yet. For the gun, it's not ready. These are ships. Why are they out here? Okay, Commonwealth cruiser is a ship. Corvette deck plans is in ships. Skip that file. We don't know. Ships. Commonwealth cruiser is a design. Kittywake bridge is a set. Polaris is a design. Also a design. These two are actually finished drawings. So we're going to cut all of these guys. Excuse me. One more. Or not. I don't know. Now I'm not sure. All right. That's a deck plan. Kittywig Bridge belongs in interiors. I almost put it back in ships. What is my problem? It's like, it's a Kittywig thing, right? I'm allergic to my show. I'll have you know, I'm allergic to my show. Because this needs to go to design. And we may or may not use it. We don't know. Pilot house control panels also belongs in interiors. Okay. Now we're going to move the Corvette deck plans. All of this stuff is in design. Okay, Corvette base. All of you guys belong in ship DAS files. This Polaris is a rig idea. So really, I think these guys all end up in design. And the texture map of that can end up in, well, I feel like it's an aging because that's that old version. And these guys all end up in design. Okay. Vehicles. Oh, look at that mess. Sort by type. These are all the OBJs and all the vehicle blends and all of those pieces parts. Okay. These all end up in the Blender files. This is good because now we can actually get to where we're going. And then here's our vehicles duff. That's a DAS file. It's also sort of a design file there. That's where they should go, is designs. Let's get all the metals in the right place. They're all in there. I think all of these, that's what should be, is in design. And in fact, that's what we should do from now on. This is a DAS file. And these then are all the textures. So let's go fix that. In ships. Really wish it would stop doing that because it's always one that way. Okay, so we're going to, in here, there was like a whole bunch of stuff where I'm like, oh, where do these go? I think these go into the design folder. That's actually probably better. Because that way I can find them, right? Okay, where are the original like concepts? Out there. And that way they're there. Okay. Props to you. Nothing in there. We don't really have a lot going on in there yet. Maquettes, nope. Interiors. So this is the interior Blender file. Is the one we're going to have a ton of this stuff, like you, and you. We're going to just take these guys, cut them out of here, and we're going to put them in design. And then that way, when I need the original PNG file, I now know to go look in design because that's where they're. That makes sense. Also belongs in design. We'll make sure that none of these guys, because see, that's what's kind of got some of the your design. All these structured drawings. Ugh. And your design. There we go. Okay. Exterior, same thing. And go into the Blender files and make sure that there's nothing in here. It's that weird. That's not. It's like an OBJ file. I don't see the MTL file for it, so it's got no metals. Well, that's probably because it's not UV mapped. Okay, so as soon as I UV map something, that materials file goes with it. It makes a materials file as soon as I do that. So, I'm noticing some things like building materials, stuff like that. I really need to make a building in Blender so that I don't have to mess with this anymore. Because part of the problem we've got is that I really need to make like various types of buildings so that I can have different types of things. And we need to think about this because when they go to Moment, we're going to want some kind of specialized buildings. Now, I'm feeling very good with my setup, and we are way early on finishing it because I thought this was going to take all 2 hours. So it's not, which is great because that means we can get into Blender and maybe we can dig in a little bit here on some buildings and constructs because they won't take that long, like Quonset huts and things like that. We just need to make the basic design, kind of get an idea of what we're looking for. What is space agey cities, right? So I'm going to go on ahead and we're going to bring up Macross City, right? Because I like the idea of Macross City. We're going to look at how Macross City looks, right? What are the buildings in Macross City? I'm really fond of the way that Macross looks and the way that it is sort of set up. And I love the way that in general Macross looks. So as a design, I like to kind of mimic it in a lot of ways. So we'll go into the design folder. We'll save here for that. And we're just saving a few some images of Macross City. We can kind of work off of that, right? Yeah. I'm not going to necessarily steal all of it, but some of these interesting building ideas are just shapes and forms that make it look space agey without it, being remarkably space agey. That's what we're going to do here. We're going to kind of look at some of the structure. Save image. I know that you're not able to see what I'm looking at this moment. It's because I need the bigger screen so I can see what I'm looking. I'm not as young as I used to be, guys. I'm not as young as I used to be. It's a sad but true thing. Sad but true. Okay, we're looking at that's interior design. That's kind of cool. Interior design. This will only take a second, guys. 5 seconds later. This will only take a second, guys. You promised a second. Okay. A lot of this seems to be going into the structure of like sticking a bunch of fine. It's all unnamed. Everything's unnamed. Clearly, they don't want me to name stuff. I already snagged that picture, so we're good. Pretty much already snagged all these pictures. Okay, good. Yep. I mean, that's the whole point, right? We want to gain sort of an appreciation for the style and design of things before we go and do this. So exterior design. Now I've snagged a whole bunch of. Really? Did it crash the download? Did you really crash the download? No. Okay. Just looking at in general the design. Here we're looking at just, basic shapes, pretty easy and straightforward, nothing major. I like this shape here. There's something about it, but then there's like this building that the buildings extend out to give more room for the sidewalks and stuff like that. That's kind of cool. So we can do stuff like that. This is just walls of things, so I don't think that's going to be anything complicated. And these are all just basic buildings too. So a lot of this looks like, I've got kind of some of these little angled buildings. It's kind of cool. I like the angled buildings. I like buildings that, start narrow and then explode out to a larger upper deck. All of those things look space ageian. Here we go with another angled building. So, and then we've got this upper deck building, which slides out like so. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to go into Blender here. I'm going to start building some basic buildings, right? And we'll go here, go to edit, take this, move it to there, and we'll call this 1 story. Okay, so this will be our 1 story building. And we're going to drop it down just a hair like so. Bring it up like so. And bring that up like so. I'm going to take all of these guys and we'll increase its size, right? That just gives us a hat for this building, a hat. That's what we're after, is a hat. And then I'll make it just so that it's just a little bit. There we go. So this building is going to be just very simple, right? It's a 1 story building with a small amount of interior space. This is like a 7-Eleven or something like that, right? And the 7-Eleven banners go up there. Let's take a look at the side here. Maybe actually we'll bring this down just a little bit more like so, because people actually can kind of, they don't need to be, well, let's see here. This is 10. Buildings generally are what? 4 meters tall? Let's take a look. We got Google. How tall is 1 story in meters? 4.3 meters total. So we could probably say 5 meters total and then call that square. And that should cover everybody who's tall and everybody who's short and everything like that. So 5 meters, which makes each one of these 2 meters. I don't know. That just confuses me. Your best bet, though, anytime you do this, it's better to just scale it so that it makes a sensible sense. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Now it's 4.5 meters tall. The building is 4.5 meters tall. This is 1 story. Okay. This makes it just easier for us to deal with. Humans are about 2 meters, so we now know that this can be down to about here, and that still gives us plenty of room for a door and anything like that. So this is 1 story. I was going to go for 5 meters, but clearly I'm an idiot. And actually 4.5 seems like a perfectly reasonable meter, or at least because it says 4.3 meters, and that's so difficult for us to ever square away. We'll never get there. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do 1.3. That's so stupid. Okay. Because I'll never figure it out. You can't divide that evenly. 4.5, at least we've got 9 meters per 2 decks. I don't even like that. It's like so confusing. All right. Okay. Let's go over to UV editing. Look at how awesome this is. Okay, from the top. First things we will, well, you know what? Let's do the bottom first. Because the bottom is going to be the one that we're going to hate life the most on. And let's actually go for this and then do this and just do that. Okay. Because the bottom, no matter which way we put it, the bottom is never going to be, it's just going to be a big black square. Unless we have some Godzilla walk through here, is never going to be any kind of... Because this also allows us to see how many square meters it is, right? So it's 10, it's 100 square meters in here. It makes it easy. Okay. And then we'll go to the top. We'll select you. And this might be useful to start thinking about this in a way that's reasonable. Like, why are these 4x4? Who invented this stuff? Okay. What we'll do is make it... Oh, really? There. If we make them all in scale, it actually makes some sense. Okay. And then we probably should also do the underside here as one kind of critter. Right, like that. Because you probably are going to put little lights or, I don't know, something. Maybe something on it. And that also is going to have to be... that big. Let's move it over here for right now. Okay. Work you and you. And let's say project from view. And we will resize this until it is 4.5 meters tall. Ish. Makes this so unpleasantly difficult. Then we'll move over one and you project from view. We'll go here and you project from view. I really like the project from view function. Because it allows me to you and you. It allows me to get a, like this instance where I just want the faces together, because it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, now we'll go to naked mode, select the whole 9 yards. Crap. I wondered whether I'd gotten somebody caught up in the same thing. All right. That's alarmingly close up here. In fact, so alarmingly close, I think it's on top of one another. So we'll go here, and we'll move you to like that. All right. I'm going to move all of these just pretty much on top of one another. There's no reason not to. I'm not going to be that precise. I'll take this guy and just move him here. And this guy can move right here. And we'll take the underside and just move it inside that shell. And then, because there's really, now I can resize the whole lot and reposition it until it's lined up properly. The cool thing about this is, and this is something I should have been doing all along, and I'm not, and I really should be, and I'm going to regret it. Because they're all roughly correctly scaled to one another, they will be easier for me to, when I do a line on the side of the building, it will be the same thickness as if I do a line on the roof of the building, right? In theory. So all the lines should be consistent all the way around the device. The object. And you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to scale this underside up, because we could write on the bottom of these buildings important information that tells us something like this is the shop that Bob works in or something, so that I know that I'm supposed to come back to this particular building for a thing if I need to. So, having that information is not going to kill us. So that will work. There we go. So building 1. We'll export wavefront object. Now we'll go over to 3D. Oh, there's no more 3D resources, is there? Crap. Ha! You deleted your shortcut. Oh, God. That was a mistake. Okay. Guy the Artist. Bellatrix Rising. That's okay. Exteriors. And this is exterior Blender files. Okay. Standard 1-story building. 01. Because I'm sure I'm going to build a ton of these. Okay. And export the object. There you go. Select the object again. Because it, of course, immediately goes out of that mode. We'll zoom in here like so. And let's spin up spin up Clip Studio. I gotta get all this stuff going. Okay. File new. What we're going to do here is I'm going to set up like a base for this. Because I feel like we need to do something that's more straightforward. So 5,000 by 5,000 should be a square. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe it should be 10,000. That's a big freaking map, though. Well, let's talk about it. A Control S. Not Control. That's Windows. Shift S for a screenshot. Thanks, Kundi. I don't know if I'm the pharmacy. Hello?
Hello, this is your 80th and Wadsworth King Super's Pharmacy. Calling to let you know your prescription.
Okay, good. That's exactly what I was looking for. Sweet. Well, that works. Figured I'd answer that because if it was the automated system, then just tell me information I needed to know. And there's nothing wrong with that. So we will set that and set an OK. And then we will save as. And we're in a completely different spot, aren't we? And we've learned this. It's design, right? But first, let's grab its name. Nope, we're not going to get it. Hey, it's design, but the name is what? What did I call it? Who are you people? I'm going to call this because it's got a match, right? STD, one story building 01. There I am. Now you're doing adult stuff? Ew. I mean, even if that was like, adult stuff in that way, it's still ew. Even if it's adulting, ew. Who wants to adult? Nobody wants to adult. Okay. Now I'm going to take this same building. We're going to go back into object mode. Object mode. No, actually, I'm just going to go back into modeling mode. Okay, modeling mode. So that's going to be I hate doing dishes. I got to do dishes today, too. I've been informed by the boss. You know who the boss is? The boss is the wife. She's the boss. Okay, I'm going to naked mode. Here's what we're going to do about this. And make this scale it up. Because we were just talking about one of the fun things was those buildings that have two different levels. It gets bigger as it goes up. And so we're going to do that here. So we know that 4.5 is the end of that floor. So we want to make sure that we have at least some concept of where the second floor is. So it's going to go to 9. So we're going to go all the way up to 9 here on this. And this should stay relatively similar, but we're still going to have to remap it. It looks like a mushroom. Looks like a low poly mushroom. I don't know if I care. Maybe I don't. So, okay. The overhang, of course, is still technically on the floor below, so that people on the street kind of have, options to walk around it. But, it's just a basic building. The mushroom building. We'll call it the mushroom building. That's what we're going to call this. And I don't know. Maybe we should make it just slightly. I mean, because it's so square. Maybe we should do, just bring it in. Still a mushroom, but at least now it's a different shaped mushroom. It'll look cool. It'll look fine in the city. It'll be fine. Okay. So we're going to go to UV on this. And we've messed up everything. So we're going to end up having to redo it anyway. We know that. So we're going to take you. We're going to take you. And we're just going to pull you aside for right now. I'm going to take you and you and you and you. And then we're going to say UV project from view because it needs to now be reprojected. We're actually going to take you and say UV project from view because, of course, it's right. And take this guy now and just move him into the center. I'm going to make this slightly smaller so that I know that it's when I look at the map, I'll be like, that's right, I'm not supposed to mess with that. So, and its width is still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if 5.5. So it's probably 11 wide now, which is to a different scale than everything over here. And I hate you people for this. So let's go in here and make sure it's the same scalage. So it's going to be 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We want it to be to here. Almost. There. Scaled appropriately, stuck to one side. Okay, on this, we're going to hit 1 and 2. Let's say project from view. You know what? I wonder if I were to bring this in like so, would it like match? No. So the important thing is, okay, fine. It's never going to fix it. Okay. For 8, 9, 10, 11, we want this to be for 8, 9, 10, 11. It needs to be a little smaller. It's one smaller extra step, but like I said, we're going to have 1,000 of these buildings. They're going to be everywhere, right? So 1, 2, project from view. I'm easily entertained. Okay, we're going to take this. Ish. Okay. 1, 2. Oh, we're going to this side. 1, 2. That side. 1, 2. The short sides are different. Wait, hey. It's naked. Damn it. Okay. Let's start all over. Problem with perfectly aligned buildings is they're perfectly aligned. Okay, we can get the top, though. That's at least a plus. We know that one's 11. 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11. Hey, actually, did it the right size. Amazing. Okay. We were at perfect scale. Okay, well, then I'll leave it the heck alone. All right. I'm just going to do this real quick. Yeah, that's all right. I'm not that worried. All right. Ooh, rete. Look at us doing our job. Getting the job done. I'm totally calling this the mushroom building. Just saying. Saint saying. Export as a wavefront object and call this 2-story building 1 mushroom. And export. Still tinking. Then screenshot. Save as. And we're going to call this a 2-story building 1-mushroom. Right? There we go. That's 2 buildings down. Just random stupid buildings that we can just stick stuff on and have buildings, and that'll be great, and all will be wonderful. And we're going to need them when we start building things like, what does the city on Moment look like? And some of the other things we saw in here were these shaped buildings. So let's do that. That's a 3-story building. Go back into the modeling mode. Ooh. And it came up in a different way, right? Because it, more importantly, I feel like, unlike the mushroom, it comes up sort of like this. in this angle, but this part doesn't. And that's the important part. It's like, I don't feel like the sides do. So it only moves one way. The other reason I think I really like that. See you tomorrow. I'll see you later, my dear friend. Have fun. The other reason I think I like this is I think that the modeling that they did when they did the modeling of what city this looks like, I feel like what they modeled it after was Akihabara, which is a borough of Tokyo, right? Um, so we got one, two, three, 4.5 is that story. Then half, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our second story. Makes me think the mushroom building isn't scaled right. Makes me worry that the mushroom building is not scaled right. Because this should be our 2 floors up right here, right? And the second floor is this floor. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Bern? I'll go up. One, two, three. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Here's our 3-story building. What we're going to do is take this and make a black stripe out of it. Slightly smaller. There we go. Well, you can see the division between the floors. But 3 stories is going to be pretty much all you're going to get out of this building. So now we've got a 3-story building. It's got an entrance and then it's got an overhang, which then mimics sort of this. See how it's a 3-story building? Same critter here. There's the first floor. Here's the second floor. And there's the third floor upstairs. We'll do whatever we're going to do for windows and things like that in texture mapping because we really don't need to worry about high detail at this point in time. It's not a high detailed thing. What we're looking for is just buildings, there's buildings. So okay, it's 55 after. So I'm going to go on ahead and message Alex, my buddy Alex, and tell him text my buddy Alex and tell him I will see him in a few. There we go. About 4 minutes, so we can go over to UV editing. I'm not expecting miracles at this point in time, really, because frankly, this is going to be kind of complicated. So let's go on ahead and put it not in naked mode, because when it's in naked mode, bad things happen. So we're going to just take the face here, and we're going to say project from view, and let's see. Just not going to fit, is it? None of it's going to fit. It's, I don't know. It's like dealing with chickens. I don't know. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and a half. And this is 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's what we want. We want one click in. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We got to go one more click in. It's between these two clicks. So it's either going to be undersized or oversized. You know what? We're just going to do this. Project from view. Take you. I'll move you over here. I'll put it in naked mode, and that should select everybody, right? All 9 yards. This is something, and I think it's the black lines that you can't see inside, or the strips, and I think that's actually what it is. So we're going to put those together and put them way at the top. All right. So this is the top of the building. Top of the building to you. The face. The bottom. The left side. The right side. And then the back. Which probably shouldn't be there. No, that's not good. All right. Okay. And move this guy over to here. And we're just going to take the back. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And then move it here because it's the back of the building. And then we'll take all of this and we'll increase it until it fills the spot. Like so. And put these lines, which are just the black lines, and since I'm going to make that just black, with 1 minute to spare, we're going to export wavefront object. I'm going to call it the 3-story building 01. I'm going to call it slanted second story object. Make sure we select everything. Make sure we put it in edit mode. Do this, and we go like this, and then we zoom into here. S. Because before we do this, we want to make sure we have its Okay. Save as standard 3-story building. And this one is dash slanted second story. There we go. Hey guys, we did a lot of work today. Look at us doing some work. And today we went ahead and organized stuff, got everything organized, and then I built some buildings. So we've got some buildings to work with whenever we get to that stage, and we'll be able to do that too. Okay, well, I'm going to head on out, and I will see you all tomorrow. We probably won't have Pepper here tomorrow because he's on a sabbatical right now, sabbaticling. That's what he's doing. Yeah, you catch me closing the shop up. So we will we'll see him probably in a week or two. I don't know what's going on as far as the long term on him, but he'll get back here at some point. So I'll see you all tomorrow, and it'll just be more work because we got work to do. We got lots to do. So until next time, keep your eyes on the stars. Bye-bye. Computer, good night.